Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Director's Chair.
Hey guys, it's your girl Erica here, and you are tuned in to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. And I'd love to welcome you back to the show. This is the show where leadership meets purpose, where we have real conversations that shape the future of early childhood education. And most people, when they think about HR and leadership, they probably picture corporate boardrooms, office buildings. But today, we're talking about leadership where it matters most, inside of our childcare centers. Because behind every thriving classroom, every supported teacher, and every confident child, there is a strong leadership driving smart, people-centered HR strategically. And today in the house, we are honored to have powerhouse Tameenah Adams. She is the dynamic HR strategist, certified John Maxwell coach in the house, and founder of Childcare HR. She serves and empowers leaders to build thriving, people-centered organizations with more than 25 years of human resource experience and a successful track as a multi-site childcare owner. She blends real-world leadership, insight, practical strategies, and success-driven strategies that help businesses grow with confidence. Welcome to the show. Holy cow, that was quite an impressive bio there, lady. So welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was listening to the bio and I was like, wait a minute, who is that?
That's your girl. That's your girl. So tell folks a little bit, how did you start? Tell us about your journey.
Well, I was a legacy owner. So I was in the restaurant business, corporate America. My passion has always been HR. But my mom owned a center, home provider, moved into a center, multi-site. And I used to always help her administratively. And I found that her passion for children, education, was becoming a nightmare managing the business side. And just watching that energy drain out of her, I just kind of said, I'll come over and I'll do the administrative part, the HR part, the business piece. And then I just kind of got into it and realized that there are so many people that are like my mom. And I was like, if I could help people who are committed to children, keep the joy and the focus on the children by taking the burden of the area they don't want to deal with off of them, then I want to do that. And that's how I gave birth to, that's how I gave birth to Childcare HR a couple years ago, is that HR is, like you said, a corporate thing. As small business owners or leaders, we don't have all that money to pay for an HR director. So I was like, let me just be a source and offer some assistance and help leaders, help directors, help administrators with just the basic conversations. And that's what I'm doing in HR, just for childcare, because who understands it better than me? I know the HR side, the owner side, the parent side. So that's how I kind of do it.
Yeah, I love it. And you gave me a great idea for a podcast episode, literally as you were speaking. I think I need to have a episode that has daughters of childcare owners, because you sound a lot like my daughter, Haley, who she's really young. She's like 26 years old, but she's the tough one. I'm like, I love the kids. I love the staff. And she's like, excuse me, Kara, you're 10 minutes late. So yeah, sometimes you do need that. You do need that backup so that you can focus on the thing that brings you joy. For many of us, it's the kids. So what does effective leadership and early childhood education truly look like in today's workforce climate? Because things have changed.
Things have really changed. I mean, we always care about our staff, but now there's so many laws around the staff that as a leader to really be effective, we have to, and especially in our industry, because it's unique, right? We wear
Hmm.
our heart on our shoulders and we love on our people, but there's some rules now that love looks very differently. And we have to make sure that we are looking at the rules, balancing it out with the license and the licensing requirements, but then at the same time treating our staff as humans. And so navigating that sometimes is challenging, right? Because I do love my staff and I do want to give her off because she has to go to the doctor, or I do want to, make sure she can take care of her child and leave early, but then I got to make sure I keep this ratio. So me
Hmm.
trying to make sure that leaders understand that there are some laws and certain things we can't do. Perfect example, like no call, no shows. We used to have that rule that no call, no show, no job. But now there's a law out that says sometimes when they no call, no show, they could be a victim of domestic violence. So we can't say no call, no show, no job. We have to say no call, no show, give me documents, or no job. So things like that.
Yeah. How should leaders align their HR strategy with the mission and values of their childcare center?
I think definitely HR is about a good portion is about making sure employees know their rights. So I think that whatever your core values are as a leader, whatever you believe in, for instance, like as a leader at my school, one of my core values was being open-minded. And so I would always align it to, yes, these are the rules. I care about you, but I'm asking that you're open-minded and understand that I have to be fair to someone who has diabetes. I have to be fair to someone that has a religious accommodation. And then on the flip side of that, when I think about accommodations, I have to say to that person that needs an accommodation, I want you to be open-minded. I do care about what's important to you, but I have to look at the safety of the children. I have to look at how other staff members feel. So that's how you kind of align it, is letting all categories of employees know they're important, know that you appreciate them, but that as an owner or as a leader, you have the responsibility also to align it with the law.
I probably should have asked this first, right? So HR is like a term that's kind of used loosely, just like leadership. It's used loosely. Can you define a little bit what HR is?
The easiest way to define HR is that human resources are looking at you having your humans as a resource. They are a resource in your business. But the role of human resources is to make sure that you are advocating and empowering your employees. And that means that I want to make sure you know your rights, you know your responsibilities, and that you have a space as a human. But human resources is also there to minimize the risk that comes with having employees. So we are like risk management in human resources, I'm not team business and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
team employee. I'm the mediator in HR. And when you're thinking about HR, those rules, it is, okay, here's your rights, here's your responsibilities. Okay, I understand. I'm your peer, I'm your confidant, I'm all these things. But then at the same time, as a business owner, I'm saying, or as a leader, okay, I got to think about how I answer this. Because even as a director, as an admin, I have what's called vicarious liability, that I'm on the hook for what I say or what I don't say to this employee. So that's kind of what human resources is in the most basic term. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say to those of you that have centers that maybe you have one location or you're a pretty small, center, you may not have an HR put in. You might be laughing and say, "Well, I am the HR." Let me tell you, I have 3 centers and they're not super big. They would say they're mid-sized. But my niece is our HR person. I will not have any difficult conversations with staff without another person in the room. Always, always. It's almost like you say, like risk management, almost like the way that you use insurance to cover your property and those types of things. You can really use HR to make sure that you're covered in the human resource area. So I think that's a good way to look at it. So how can strong HR leadership directly transform staff retention and workplace culture in a center?
Strong HR leadership will do that because employees want to be somewhere where they feel safe, right? And I feel safe when I feel like I'm heard and I'm seen and I'm valued. It's not just about a paycheck. It's also about, can I freely speak up about my concerns, right? What my needs are, because I'm still a human first. You're using me as a resource in your building, but I'm a human. So having some strong, clear policies, I will say that as a leader, that kindness is clarity. When people are clear, then that is being kind. Whether that clearness is holding them accountable to what you will not accept, or that clearness is letting them know what they need to do through documented processes, documented policies. Documentation is clear whether you have one employee or 100. You need some basic things.
Yeah. What would you say, working with centers, what would you say are maybe some policies or some documentations that you see people often overlook?
The biggest one in our industry is one around workplace accommodations, especially with us having majority women who are pregnant, majority women who are parents. Pregnancy is a highly protected class. You have to have a very tight policy around how do you handle workplace accommodations. So that would be one of the biggest ones. How do you handle sickness? Because many states now are coming up with sick and safe leave laws. So how do you handle sick? Requesting time off, being very clear about being an at-will employer, being very clear about how to handle workplace discrimination, making sure people understand that they're safe. But my biggest ones would be ADA, making sure you have a very clear workplace accommodation, religious accommodation, process and policy, injuries, making sure they understand, and when there's conflict. The things that, again, that make an employee feel safe. Employees have to feel safe, and they have to feel like they're being treated fair. And perception becomes reality, and the only way to change that is through policies.
Yeah. What HR systems or processes are non-negotiable for building a compliant and people-centered organization?
A very clear onboarding process. Your selection and onboarding process is a non-negotiable. It should be very clear the steps it takes to get hired and onboarded, and it should be very clear the steps it takes to get offboarded. So your onboarding and your offboarding should be non-negotiable. Every employee should know what is needed. They should have some type of offer letter for pay transparency and to make sure that they understand this is what you're being hired to. You understand you're at will. This is your schedule. This is your position. This is the job I'm requiring you to do. So an offer letter and a job description, non-negotiable. You need it. You need it if you have nothing else. And then the other side of it is in their handbook, here are the things that you could lose your job for. Here are the things that could cause you not to be employed, listing those things and making sure that when you offboard them, they understand in writing, today is your last day, you are being separated because you violated this policy on page 25 of the handbook. You want to be very, very clear because wrongful termination lawsuits are really big, and it is cheaper for an insurance company to settle than to defend you, even though you're right.
Yeah. What would you say is one strategy that leaders can implement immediately to better support and motivate their staff?
Some type of survey system. You don't have to have a fancy survey. In the world of AI, ChatGPT, Google Forms, Jot Forms, just asking them 2 or 3 questions, right? How was your work week? If you were to advise me on how I could improve as a leader, what would you suggest? What do you think would be the one thing that every new hire needs to learn? Just basic questions are great. That would be creating some type of survey system. The other thing that works really well is having one-on-ones with people, not performance appraisals, but just, hey, I'm here to talk to you. How's your week going? How are you feeling? Have those very casual 5-minute check-ins so that when you do need to have the difficult conversation, it's less stressful for you and them. So those would be the things that improve engagement because it builds trust, it builds relationship, and they'll understand and respect when you do have to say, hey, let's talk about something else.
Yeah. How would you say strong internal leadership ultimately improves outcomes for children and families?
Strong internal leadership. As far as improving outcome for children and families, because I think that when I have clarity as an employee of what is expected of me and I can feel comfortable, it allows me to focus on my job. But if I'm sitting in a space of fear, uncertainty, stress, because life is stressful enough outside of my 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I come to work, and now on top of that, I have to wonder, am I getting terminated today? Do my director like me? If I do this wrong, are they going to tell me today is my last day? So when we
Yeah.
are giving clarity in the processes, that allows me to focus on the kids because I feel secure. The children, right? My mom would hurt me right now because I said that word kids. So let me take it back. It was like, we're not raising no baby goats. So children. Um, but then I could focus on relationships. And it's also a transfer of energy. When a leader models positivity, relationship building, kindness, that shows me how I, as a leader in my classroom, can model that for the children, model that for dealing with my parents. See, if we show how we handle conflict with our staff in a positive, non-demeaning way, then our staff can handle the conflict that comes from the parents or the conflict between two children. It just trickles down.
How would you say investing in strong HR practices translate into consistency and quality in the classroom?
When it comes to investing in strong HR, one, it lowers your turnover.
Yeah.
So turning over one employee on average is $7,000.
Ching, ching.
Every single employee, about $7,000 is costing you to turn that employee over. And so when you slow down your turnover, that works for your culture, it works for your brand, because then you're able to say, hey, my teachers are with me for a year. My teachers are with me for 2 years. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but in today's age, if you could keep a teacher for a year, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. So that's how that helps. And then it also helps again with just, I can't stress enough, safety. When people feel safe and they feel secure, they are empowered.
Okay. Let me see. Let's talk a little bit about what workforce planning strategies should leaders be thinking about now to prepare for future staffing challenges? Like, how do we plan ahead?
You know, the number one sign of being a strong leader is the ability to predict and pivot
Mhm.
quickly. So we definitely recommend in HR that you keep your eyes out to and ears out to what you see and hear as a trend and what is happening, right? What you see on social media, what you're hearing, at your conferences, your community, and begin to forward think about, okay, if this is a benefit that people are saying they want. Benefits don't always mean medical insurance. If everybody loves Netflix, could you
Mhm.
give $15 a month towards the cost of their Netflix as a benefit to make you more marketable for people to say, oh, I'm gonna go work for them because they
I
pay for my
love that.
Netflix, right? They pay for my Netflix every month. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go work for them because every quarter they give us a $50 Uber card. You have
Mhm.
to begin to think out of the box because what I'm seeing in HR is people want to be humanized. They don't want
Yeah.
to be robotic. They want to be seen as a human who is experiencing life in the craziest of forms right now.
Mhm.
Well, they want lifestyle benefits. In some parts of the US, they want benefits for their pets. And not every benefit is a cost to you. So that's how you
Mhm.
plan is your benefits should not stay stagnant. What you offered in 2024, you might not offer in 2025 or 2026. I
Mhm.
recommend always doing a survey,
Yeah.
listing all your benefits annually, giving it out to your team, letting them tell you which benefits they like, which benefits they wish you had, even looking at your usability, right? Like if you say, okay, here's the 5 benefits I offer, see what is the percentage of your employees that took advantage of that benefit. And if they didn't, take it out the plate. So I would
Mhm.
say, look at that. Constantly changing your interview questions, constantly making sure you're keeping your Indeed page and your marketing pages current. When you are on Indeed, you have to make sure that your company page is fresh and new. If the last
Mhm.
time a teacher put up a review was a year ago, I don't know if I'm going to apply there. Put up
Yeah.
pictures of your staff. Be proud of the work you do. Tell your story as a leader. Why should I come and be with you? Talk about how great you are as a leader. That's not being flamboyant or snobby. That's being
Sure.
real. I'm a great leader. I love my staff. I used to be in the classroom as a teacher. I believe that teachers should be treated with respect. Put that on your page. Put that on your ad. So
Yeah.
these are the things you can do to continue to compete. You might not pay the highest salary, but
Mhm.
people we're finding are not always looking for money.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is if you've never done it, you should create what we call a total compensation package. So that is where you have your hourly rate, but you also are adding all the other things that increase the rate.
Mm.
So your hourly rate, if you take it and multiply it by 2080, which is a full-time amount of hours a person works a year, that gives you their annual salary. But then how much is the 5 days of sick leave you give them worth? How much is their birthday holiday, the Netflix discount? You add all of that and you present to employees. We offer you a total compensation package valued at $30,000 a year. That's for somebody that was making $10 an hour. I'm telling them they're getting
Yeah.
a $30,000 package. The other thing I always do is I always let them know that in our industry, you don't work weekends. So yes, Walmart pays more, Aldi pays more, but you
Mhm.
work weekends, you work nights, you work holidays. You don't work that with me. So you that's
Mhm.
a benefit. I also explain to them that when you think about us compared to the school system, you really only work about 11 months a year. I always break that math to you don't work 12 months a year. You work about 11 in our field, in our industry in ECE. So teachers in the school system work 10 months. Teachers in ECE work about 11.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are great things that you pointed out. You know, when you said take a survey, we did this a couple of years ago, and we actually found that a lot of our employees valued more time off than money.
Yep.
A lot of them said, I would rather have a couple of extra vacation days, paid or not paid. They didn't really care. They just wanted some days off to just like have a life,
Yep.
just like to have a life. Particularly our teachers that had children, where they were able to drop off their children and maybe be able to go out for a day for their own, just their own mental health. So that was a lot of the feedback we had gotten from our staff. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to leave? I mean, you just dropped a ton of nuggets here, but is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners with that I didn't ask you?
I think, and I'm grateful for this opportunity because I'm passionate about HR and I'm passionate about being of service to people. One thing you said earlier is that somebody might say, I am HR, and that is okay. Just make sure that you have a resource of reference, whether it is this podcast, subscription to a magazine, a YouTube session, something, a blog where you can go and get human resource help to know the laws. Even if it is your local state wage and hour office, it is free. Call them up and say, I just want to get all the wage and hour laws as it applies to me
Mm-hmm.
so I
Mm-hmm.
can have a point of reference. You need it. You need it. You need it. Do not underestimate it.
Yeah. And make sure you get those label law posters hanging up. We hang ours in the bathroom because we know that's where our teachers spend the most amount of time other than the classroom. So yeah, ours are right in the bathroom with all the workers' comp info, the phone number you need, all of the laws, all the minimum wages, all of that is hanging up in our staff bathroom.
That's it.
Seems like a funny place, but it is where people congregate and everybody uses it. So you can't say you don't see it. Well, thank you so much for being a great guest. And for folks that are listening, if today's conversation is inspiring you to lead stronger, build smarter systems, and create thriving people-centered organizations, you need to join us at the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference happening on May 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful Warwick, Rhode Island. We'll leave a link below, and we'll also leave a link for you to connect with Tameenah Adams. So that's it for today, guys. As always, have a great day, and thanks for tuning in to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.